If you're in healthcare, you might be thinking about bolstering your cybersecurity to protect your business from hackers who notoriously target health records because of their exceptionally high value on the black market. Or perhaps your company has a deal in the pipeline that's contingent on achieving HITRUST certified status. Whatever your reasoning, you've been tasked with leading the charge on HITRUST certification at your organization. It's your first time, so you want to make sure that you're amply prepared to get it right, so you can be a HITRUST hero instead of a HITRUST zero. In this video, we'll discuss in detail what the HITRUST certification process looks like and recommend some things to keep in mind along the way. The first thing you're going to do when you begin your journey down the path of certification is assemble your HITRUST team. This is the core group of people who will be responsible for seeing the project to completion. Typically, the team will consist of the executive sponsor, the project manager, the external assessor, the evidence finders, and in some cases, the managed services provider. The executive sponsor is usually the Chief Information Security Officer, but can also be senior director level. Though not involved in day-to-day activities, this person is responsible for leading the charge on HITRUST and rallying leaders across departments to ensure it's prioritized and completed. The project manager is the person who will be in the weeds daily, creating and managing the project plan and ensuring that milestones are achieved in a timely manner. The external assessor you choose will be on point from start to finish. They'll scope out the project, create a plan, provide remediation recommendations, and ultimately review your submission to verify that it's sufficient before sending it to the HITRUST Alliance for final approval. You'll want to pick an assessor with significant experience and focus on HITRUST, but more on that in another video. The evidence finders, as we like to call them, will be in charge of proving the validation of each HITRUST control. In general, this group includes the privacy officer, the security manager, and the IT manager. The majority of the evidence gathering falls on these staff members and their teams. Lastly, for organizations that use public cloud infrastructure, a managed services provider could be a valuable part of your HITRUST team. That's because some MSPs have been certified by the HITRUST Alliance to provide HITRUST inheritance programs that can accelerate the process significantly. I cover more on that in another video you can check out if you're interested. Now that you've assembled your team, it's time to dive into the certification process. A typical timeline is anywhere from 7 to 18 months from start to finish, depending on your organization's environment and how motivated your HITRUST team is at driving the project. The process can be broken up into 4 phases. The first phase is the readiness assessment and gap analysis. Through the readiness assessment, your assessor determines how many HITRUST controls will be part of your assessment based on how your organization interacts with sensitive data. This can be anywhere from 200 to over 1,800 controls that span across 19 domains. Obviously, the more controls that are required for your submission, the more complex, lengthy, and costly your HITRUST process will be. Then, the assessor takes the lead by identifying gaps in your existing environment that could prevent HITRUST certification and provides recommendations, guidance, and timeline for developing an information security program that meets the current HITRUST framework. Phase 1 usually takes 4 to 8 weeks. Next is Phase 2, when you implement corrective actions. The list of deficiencies from Phase 1 becomes the checklist for gap remediation. The range of services that your assessor can perform here is broad. Some examples are functioning as a virtual CISO, creating a data classification protocol, and setting up a business continuity and disaster recovery strategy. Phase 2 usually takes 4 to 12 weeks. Phase 3, the validated assessment, is next. This is where the evidence finders on your team work to validate the controls that have been prescribed by your assessor in Phase 1, usually by providing screenshots that demonstrate adherence to particular controls. When your team is ready, it's time to submit your evidence to your HITRUST assessor for review and approval. This marks the beginning of a 90-day no-change period, where you can't make any adjustments to your environment while the assessor reviews your submission. There may be some back and forth here as your team works with the assessor to provide sufficient evidence. Phase 3 can take anywhere from 4 to 9 months. Finally, you enter Phase 4, where you submit your work to the HITRUST Alliance and get results back within 1 to 3 months. If all goes as planned, congratulations! You've just achieved HITRUST certification. Yay! You did it! Now, do it again. While HITRUST certification is valid for 2 years, you must submit an interim assessment at the 1-year mark. This review follows the same guidance as the validated assessment, but has a limited set of requirements. Typically, HITRUST asks for evidence of compliance for 1 requirement from each of the 19 domains. So, in summary, the HITRUST process looks like this. Build your team, undergo the certification process, which has 4 phases. At the 1-year mark, complete the interim assessment. And at the 2-year mark, do it all over again, starting with the readiness assessment. If you want to learn more about how working with an MSP can accelerate your path to HITRUST certification, check out our video entitled How the Cloud Accelerates HITRUST Certification. Or go to cloudticity.com/HITRUST to learn how we can help. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. See you next time.